Apparently live. Wow, somebody in already. I haven't started yet. That must be me. Hello, whoever you are. Nice to see you. To see you. Nice. I'll probably wait till a few people, hope for a few people to come in before I start. But this is going to be, a quick one because I know it's Friday and Dave Paisano will be doing a show, probably with the Fenn Ghost, hopefully. But this is about 7th of September and remembering Major Forrest Burke Fenn and a couple of other things. Who is going to be first to knock on the door? That's for whoever you are. It's Davey B. Oh, wow. How you doing, buddy? That was quick. Very quick. You beat INFJ. And there's 4 people in, so you only just beat them. But much love. Oh, that didn't work. That did do. Boom. So, well, that is 4 people in, so doing good. And you, always good, mate. Always good. Thanks. It's Casper. Woohoo. How you doing? This wasn't planned. I didn't know Dave was going to be first in. This not normally INFJ, yourself, and a few more people normally first in. But Davey B this time, definitely not planned. But this is about Forrest Fenn. The 4 years up since we heard that Forrest Fenn had passed away. So Forrest said, if you're going to say nice things, say them while I'm alive, don't tell me after I'm gone. And he said, think nice thoughts. And I sent him an email saying, why do we need to think nice? Why are you saying that? Why do we need to think nice thoughts? It's not as though we're going to think bad thoughts. And, for some of us, that's been the case. There are no bad thoughts. And again, I'll go back to, what is the reason why people say and do the things they do within the chase, and how much of it is a true reflection of themselves or part of the narrative that is the thrill of the chase. So we were set a task, and that was to solve a poem that was in a book titled The Thrill of the Chase. And the lure was a chest full of, gold and precious jewels. Wow, there's quite a few lurkers considering there's 7 in. So I wish I could have lived to do the things I was attributed to. What were those things? And people have attributed Forrest to doing, many, many, many things. And we know Forrest for the person that hid a chest in the Rocky Mountains. And if you find it, you can have it. Didn't say nothing about any treasure, just a chest. So everybody went out looking for this chest and decided to solve the poem in whichever manner they thought of, however they decided. And there were many, and I mean many, many clever ways to do it. things that people wouldn't even, or they've probably been out online, some of them, but some of them, maybe not. And each would give you an answer. Each would take you to a chest. Every one of them. Each would take you to a chest. And that must mean that, it can't be right. It was the intention of Forrest for people to have those souls and knew what they would be. And whilst giving people the information saying, okay, somebody would tell him they did this, and Forrest would put out a statement that basically refuted that. That's not that type of soul. No, it's not in that place. And in some cases would make it seem like he was moving people from the place that they were. But reading the poem, he's telling you, stay in that place in the poem. In that part of the poem, you're in a good place. So if you're in Montana in the poem, that's a good place. There is absolutely 100%, and more than that if it was allowed. It would be a good place to be. Not in Montana, in the poem in Montana. So if you had Montana, yeah, absolutely be there. Absolutely be there. And it'd be okay to be there. 100%. So, okay, Montana, yeah, why not? In the poem. And I think people did Forrest an injustice. They didn't listen to him. And if they listened to him, they didn't hear him. See, when Forrest spoke, they heard themselves. They heard their own bias in what Forrest was saying. So, being in Montana, in the poem, perfect. Not necessarily being in Montana in the real world. But if you don't read the poem, then there's every likelihood that you make more assumptions based on the bias that you have. So you make the assumption in the first place, and then you add to that assumption because of it. And then you start calling Forrest names and saying that, he did things that he didn't. Hey, INFJ, how are you? All good? I think it's weird. There's 11 people in. There's only 3 people that said anything. But so reading the poem, there is talk of the habanera lady, and that's the lady that does the singing. So if you remember, I talked about Forrest saying, CNN and K-Pro show, but there's also the rather large lady, and she sings. And if you read Carmen opera, and deliver the keys, then the lady can sing. As long as she knows the keys, then she can sing. But these keys are Pedro's keys. And Pedro had 5 chests. Same amount of chests that JCB has. And with these 5 keys, could we find these 5 chests? That's interesting. So I did a video, haven't put it out. Has a lot more information than I'm giving now. This is just about, and there it is, the 7th of September. So I should stand up really, but thank you very much, Major Forrest Burke fan, for the thrill of the chase, for the history and the future of it, and the longevity of it, for all that you have thought of, for all that you have achieved, and for all that will be achieved because of your ingenuity, your fortitude, your willingness to sacrifice some of you for other people. So when I say some of you, I mean your heart, mind, body, soul, life, your time to do something that, I don't think anyone else is going to think of or go through what you've gone through to make it happen. I believe that people will appreciate it, when it happens. There'll always be some that, don't want to accept. There are a few people in the chase, absolutely 100% behind Forrest. And there may be others that are 100% behind Forrest but don't give that impression. Bill put out an interesting video, which again suggests that Bill knows more than he's saying. So, as I said always, Bill says some good things and says some bad things. But the words in that video, they're not Bill's. The video has nothing to do with Bill. The title has nothing to do with Bill. And therefore you have to ask yourself the question, why is it put out? And that's not me being nasty to Bill. That's just me being honest, I do not hear Bill's voice saying those words. It could have been, it probably needed a different person saying them with a bit more, I don't know how to put it, a raunchy sort of thing. Raunch is probably not the word. Gravelly, probably the word. Sounded more like a young Luke Skywalker. Probably needed to be more like, well, not necessarily Darth Vader, but in that sort of tone, even though it wasn't meant in that sort of tone. The imagination in the chase was varied, absolutely varied. Thank you, FF Gore, for all you have done and are doing. Dave Manfromese wrote an interesting comment about the monologue of the who and the where has now put me in the same bracket as Peggy in regard to being involved in the FBI investigation. I find it laughable, but the information, it's just crazy, absolutely crazy. So going forward, whilst I don't believe that stoof.com has to be solved to help with not to help, to end with the thrill of the chase. I don't think it has to be solved. I think, can I make it happen the way that it's supposed to be? So it needs to happen. It's very possible that Forrest is associated with stoof.com. It's very possible that the state in which those people are from has a direct bearing on, the thrill of the chase. And these are only possibilities. They're just, I don't claim them to be everything that, Forrest was talking about, other than that it's possible. In order for JCB to succeed, the thrill of the chase needs to have succeeded. But that doesn't mean to say that it has to be done and dusted. You could start another hunt with the backdrop of a bad ending for the thrill of the chase, but it wouldn't be as successful. It'd be more difficult to get off the ground. So really the thrill of chase needs to succeed in order that there's treasure inside to carry on. And that's the poem. All that's happened, God, I'm going to sound like Kamala, whatever her name is, Kamala. Unburdened by what has been. So letting go of the shackles from the thrill of the chase. Going forward with one soul, with only one way of looking at it, with only one possibility, without all the shifting, drifting, adjusting, moving with confidence, best able to adapt, one foot on the other, continuous, contiguous, chronological. Without all of that, I don't know. I don't see much hope for a good soul for the JCB hunt. But as me and Davey discussed, it is possible that there are different rules for the JCB hunt, and that means you need to listen harder to distinguish between what has been and what will be. It will be interesting to read the book, to see what the information is that JCB has, who it is about, what it is about, what time period it has, and if the hints in the book are the clues, along with the poem itself. Understanding the thrill of the chase was all about listening to Forrest. All about listening to Forrest. If you didn't hear what that man said, you didn't stand a chance. You really did not stand a chance if you didn't hear what he said. And if you weren't hearing what he said, if you didn't Everything was useful. The scrapbooks, the interviews, the books, they were all useful. But there were no confirmers, unless you already knew the answer. And that's the problem. There are no confirmers, unless you know the answer. So the confirmers pretty much are answering the answer that you have, not giving you the answer that you get. And that's the hard part about the thrill of the chase. You can make, you can make thousands of souls with that poem. Thousands of souls. And there is nothing to say, yep, that's the answer. And yet Forrest told you how to do it. And that's crazy that people didn't. Or that you've spent the last 14 years pretending that you don't know what's going on. That's even worse. So my first thoughts when I came into the chase, all about why the heck has this taken so long? No, that's a lie. My first thoughts when I came back from America, because before that I was just a greedy son of a bitch who just wanted to, find the chest and have the gold, and that's it, changed my life. But when I came back, my thoughts were, why is it taking so long? Why are we, 8, 9, 10 years into this? Why has nobody solved it? It's easy to solve. And I'm proof of it. This is what I'm saying to myself. Don't go jumping up and down. It's easy to solve. I solved it. So why hasn't it been solved? So I started to think, well, why hasn't it been solved? Okay, everyone's doing the where warm water salt, blah, 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 which I did and went out to America after I did the anagrams and everything else. Why has nobody solved it? And then while I'm thinking that, Jenny Carl says, why has nobody been able to say checkmate Forrest Fenn? What? What's that got to do with anything? Checkmate? What's that got to do with anything? So I started thinking, well, hang on a minute then. Why has she said checkmate? Checkmate is a... What's that? Oh, I hate when it does it. Checkmate is a totally different game. Why would she say something like that? So to me, hello, Lulybell, how you doing? Happy Friday. Well, Saturday now. That's why I've done this, because it's the 7th. So happy Friday to you. And I can actually, remember Forrest along with David V, because we're ahead. And it is the 7th of September. So this is a precursor to your 7th. And hopefully, when you're waking up, you'll be remembering Major Forrest, Burke, Fenn, and the thrill of the chase. Ben! Hoo-hoo! How are you? No, and Ashley, if she's there. If not, hello Ashley anyway, even if you're not there, and the youngins. Hope everybody's okay. Just read these before I carry on. I forget everything that I was saying. So I can't remember what it was now. So why has nobody solved it? And you end up with checkmate Forrest Fenn. So I thought maybe it's got nothing to do. Maybe it's got absolutely nothing to do with those words, in the way that I'm reading those words. And maybe it's to do with another game. So there was talk of Monopoly and all these other things. What could that possibly mean? Along with, I looked up all the words in that poem. I'm thinking, wow, there's so much going on here. What if there's more than one soul? What if there's lots of different souls? How many souls are there in this poem? Not the begin at where one water solve. All the other different things that you can do in this poem that will give you a soul. So the anagrams, and how can you say checkmate to Forrest Fenn reading this poem? Then you have things like the sliding trick. So, oh, what does that mean? And then please touch. And they say, what does that mean? And then it's square in the book on each page. What's that for? So instead of looking at the poem, I was looking at all of these things that were said by Forrest and other people. It's like, none of it makes sense. So try and make sense of it. And I ended up doing all these, even in my mind at the time, stupid solves that had nothing to do with beginning where warm water solve. So, Troy has his try the wheel. I think it's try the heel. But it really does say try the law wheel. So there was the first solve. It says try the law wheel. So now I have to get all the information that Forrest gave out, put the 4 states in, and then try and narrow it down. And this is the journey that I went on. This is not the solution. This is just lots of different things that I did to get to something that resembled what Forrest was saying. So that was the end goal. The end goal is to, whatever Forrest said, whichever answer I have, has to take into account these things. Has to. Otherwise it's not correct. So I started doing all these solves. Like I say, if Forrest was here, he'd tell me, yeah, he just kept emailing me with loads of different stupid things. Not stupid, absolutely relevant to the Full of the Chase possibilities. But all of those had to be done. And I said in my early videos, if you stumble on this answer without going through all this metal and resolve stuff, the difficult but not impossible, if you stumble on it, you miss out on everything. You miss out on the game of chess. You miss out on the game of cards. You miss out on playing chase with Forrest with the poem. You miss out on the word search. You miss out on the Scrabble. You miss out on all of these different games that you could have played with Forrest in the poem. If you just went, oh yeah, that's it. So in the first instance, after doing all these begin it where warm water halt stuff, sliding the lines, and looking at different words, so begin it where warm water's halt, and take it in the canyon down, so it in, so follow the word in the canyon, so get the word there, go back to the canyon, get like a making the lines cross sort of thing. So doing lots of different souls, coming out of lots of different answers, and not believing that what I've done is what Forrest Fenn said. And that's the hard part. You have to go, right, I've done this, and I think this is the answer. So, Forrest, tell me it's not. Tell me that what I've done here is not the answer. And you go, I'll be reading it off in my mind, and I'll be listening to it, yeah. Nope. What do you mean, no? Like, what do you mean, no? It took me ages to do it. Well, not ages, but it's taken me a while to do this, and it seems really, really good. I'm very confident, and then you say no. So, it could be below 5,000 feet. It could be above 10,200 feet. It could be in a place where loads of people go. It could be, all of these things. The chest might not be wet. It's not in an isolated place. Whatever it is, whatever the answer was, it was like, no, it's not that. So start again. It's like, Forrest, and I've already said, you get to the point where you go, no, there's no solve. You're just winding us up. There's no solve. There is no solve to this poem, because whatever you come up with, Forrest Fenn says, no, it's not because of this. So you had to get to the point where you could go, it has to be this. This is the only thing it can be, based on the information given. So try the law wheel, that's what it gives you. You put in the information of the 4 states, then you put in the information of Forrest Fenn, then you reduce it down to what it could possibly be. And you get to the point that Forrest says, no one's going to stumble on that chest. Has to be in a place that no one's going to. Has to. And that severely reduces your search area. You're going from a place, looking in places where everybody goes, to looking in places where no one goes. It can only be these things. And early on, I don't know if it was Bill Gorman or not, somebody was talking about Barclay Pit, and I was like, how the heck can it be there? How can it be in Barclay Pit? How are you going to get it? Like, saying it's in Barclay Pit is one thing. How did Forrest put it in there? Because it's hazardous stuff. How did Forrest put it in there? If it would survive in there, and how are you going to get it out? But it definitely was a place that no one would go. So it's like, oh, I see merit in it now. Initially, I was like, you idiot, how's it going to be there? And then it was like, oh, actually, it could be there because Forrest said nobody goes there. It's in the place that no one would go, so you wouldn't go in there. But then you add everything else, the home of Brown, Warm Waters Holt, the Blaze, and you try and work all that out. And then you get that aha moment, you get that realization that there was only ever going to be one spot. So he wrote it in a way that you thought 9 clues meant 9 locations. And it wasn't that at all. And this is what I'm thinking. You don't have to think it, you don't have to believe it. I'm not telling you to. But there was only ever going to be one spot. Which is why I say, if there was only ever going to be one spot, how could he move it? It wouldn't fit the poem. Like, if you're making a poem about one spot, and then you move it, how does your poem match this other spot? Now, in the Solve That Everybody Does, of course it can, because the poem's very vague. Of course you can move it. I could move it from Wyoming to New Mexico, and there would be a solve that would fit it. People say, oh, there's no solve for Wyoming. Oh, there's no solve for Montana. Oh, there's no solve for New Mexico. So what do you mean there's no solve for it? Of course there is. Of course there is. There's a solve for anywhere in the United States of America. Anywhere in the United States of America, there's a solve. There is a solve for anywhere on the planet. Literally. If your bias will let you say that where warm waters halt is Vietnam, you could find a chest in Vietnam based on the information you've got. If your warm waters halt is in Vietnam, that's where you'll find a chest, because that's where you'll find the blaze, because that's where you're going to be looking. If it was in Russia, you'll find it in Russia. If it was in Japan, you find it in Japan. If it was in China, you find it in China. Because once you have a warm waters halt, you follow that warm waters halt down whichever canyon you come up with. That's not far, but too far to walk. Whichever home of Brown you come up with, until you get to a blaze. That's it. So when people say there isn't a solve for these states, I think, are you kidding me? There's a solve for anywhere in the world. Absolutely a solve for anywhere in the world. And if JCB wanted to, he could have put Hunt out for anywhere in the world. And probably, I don't know, because I haven't got the information yet, but probably the clues would allow you to get to those places. If JCB's Hunt is a continuation of the chase, You are going to start at where warm waters halt. How do you find the correct warm waters halt? Listen, please listen. I don't know if it is. I don't know if it is. I'm just saying. If there's more than one chest to find in JCB's hunt, and if they all start at where warm waters halt, how will you know you have the correct one? And how does that fit with, please listen, you can hide it in the same place. No one will ever find it there. Well, nobody found it at warm waters halt. Except 350,000 people did. But they didn't. Please listen. Just say there's 10 people in the chase. There's loads more. There's loads more. 10 people in the chase. And there's 5 chests up for grabs. Just that will say that 5 people are wrong. Just that, if there's only 10. If there's 10 people left in the chase, and there's 5 chests up for grabs, and it starts at the warm waters halt, then 5 people are already wrong. If you go based on your solve. But based on your solve, one solve for one spot, you've got a 1 in 10 chance of being correct. If there's 100 people, you've got a 1 in 100 chance of being correct. If there's 1,000 people, you've got a 1 in 1,000 chance of being correct. And it goes on. If it's 350,000 people, no, they won't all have different solves. So let's say 10,000 people. Let's say there were 10,000 solves, not just solely based on beginning where warm waters halt in the way we think of it, but using that information to get to a point. So your chances of being correct, no, with one solve, full warm waters halt. No. And you won't be able to prove it. You won't be able to prove it if it's that vague still. Or unless you go to the spot and get it. Now, I don't know what the stipulations are, but are these chests buried? Or are they like the Forrest Fenn full of the chase chest? Just put on the ground for you to find. No, not put it. And I left it there, wherever Forrest put it. This date makes me want to share another one of my emails from Forrest. Woohoo! I am sure we would all love for you to share. Yes, we would. It's hard for me to find one that's not so personal. We shared a lot. And no one will force you to either. The odds are astronomical of being correct, but that is the way F wanted it. Well, had to be like that, Forrest said. The poem had to be just so. Just the way that it was, that's how it had to be. So I don't know if he wanted it to be that way, but that's the way that it had to be. And then he had to make it work. So there has to be, please listen. There has to be a method. There has to be a method. So 5 Leaf says it's a cipher. Okay? 5 different ciphers for 5 different chests. trusted. Okay, 5 different versions of that, those sonnets, or whatever you want to pretend that your soul is. Dave Man from the East. Okay, 5 different Begin It Where Warm Waters halts in the way that you did, and now you have to realign your comics to fit a different script. And it goes on. Treasure Poem. How you solved it. Ben, how you solved it. And so on. But if it's all just Begin It Where Warm Waters halt, wow. Wow. I don't hold out much hope. And, like I said, maybe there is 5 souls out there that have already found those chests. And maybe one of those souls for the Forrest Fenn for the Chase chest is a soul for this other chest. But that would mean it has to be that JCB would have had to put it in the search states that it's already in, that the Forrest Fenn for the Chase was, for your solve to be correct. If you're in Wyoming, they would have had to put another chest in Wyoming. If it's in Montana, they would have had to put a chest in Montana. If it's in Colorado, if it was in New Mexico. For your solve to be correct. There's only 4 states. So that means there must be a state. Even if they put them in them 4 states, there must be a different state. Now, Forrest did say he wished he had another chest he could hide in the Appalachians. So, just by the laws of probability, whichever name that came under, Sod's law in my case, you would have to think, well, and I'm no expert on the Appalachians, I don't know how many states it takes in. You would have to think, well, if it is related to the Forrest Fenn for the Chase, that'd be a good place to start. And I know what you'll all do. If it is a Begin It Where Warm Waters halt, if it's the same poem with the same thing, just a bit on the end, you will do exactly what you did in this one. The fact, please listen, the fact that there's more than one answer means it can't be the way you did it. It just can't be the way you did it. However you did it, it can't be that way. You'd have to repeat it 5 times and get different results. And that in itself nullifies your first solve. There has to be a technique that you can reproduce. Now, the technique for most people is, well, I started here at this warm waters halt and I finished here at this blaze. Thousands of people did that, and thousands of people got to a blaze, and that's where the chest should be. I don't know how much hope for that going forward. So it has to be repeatable. And Forrest said, if you don't have the program, how will you know? If you don't have the recipe, how can you make the cake? So I see this as a precursor. I see this as the first leg of many years in the chase. And I don't see it being, well, it might be difficult but not impossible. And it might be simple. But I think if you if you want to find one of those chests, you better have a good starting point, and you better have a good method, and you better have good ears, because that's what it was about. I believe that Forrest Fenn achieved what he wanted to achieve, which was this new hunt. I believe everything that you've been through was for this moment, 1021. Everything that we've all been through is for 1021. To make it happen the way that it's supposed to be. And the who and the where is for 1021. Which was not meant to come out in 2020. So I just want people to believe that Forrest Fenn did something amazing and stop the bull. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help anyone. Well, it does. It does. I understand the chaos part of it. I understand the narrative part of it. I understand that. The falling out, the I'm better than you stuff. It's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. It isn't worth it. I have to admit, this scenario of, the FBI, blah, 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 that doesn't worry me. Even if I thought it was true, it doesn't worry me, because the poem, you can't, how can I describe, like, you can't, it'd be like having a boxing match with Superman. No, ain't gonna happen. Like, it doesn't matter what you've got, and I'm talking without kryptonite, no cheating. It doesn't matter what you've got, ain't gonna have any impact on the real solution. None. No. The only thing it'll do is hurt yourself. Don't. It ain't gonna happen. As much as as much. It's just funny. It's like really weird. It's just funny. I don't know. It's just crazy that people, again, part of it, knowingly or unknowingly, I don't know. But excuse me. I don't have anything against Dave Man from the East. I really don't. I just find his soul's laughable. I just find, I haven't looked into this 100,000 blah 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 stuff, but I just find it laughable that people say something and then they say something else and it contradicts totally what they've just said. It's like you're telling us that you're the solver. Now you've made this 100,000. I'm going to give you my camper van, whatever it's called. It's like you're suing someone because of the thrill of the chase, and now you're doing a giveaway, as it were, in regards to the thrill of the chase. And Dave knows that his soul is not going to, or he should do. It's not going to hold water. Just isn't. But like I say, the only way Superman will be involved in this thrill of the chase is Dave trying to beat him. It's ain't going to happen. And that's not me being nasty. That's me being, honest. There's a simple soul for the thrill of the chase poem, which doesn't need any explaining, which doesn't need any It makes me laugh. So you tell people the answer to the Thrill of the Chase poem. That's it. You tell them the answer to the Thrill of the Chase poem. That's it. You don't need any explanation. You don't need any long-winded discussion. You don't need a 3-hour video. You don't need to write, anything on a. Well, you don't need to write on a post-it note, but you could write it on a post-it note, and that's it. That's it. For the chest. So, in all of this, what I'm trying to say, and I'm going to be quick because David's going to go live, I think. Forrest was going to make something happen, and he told us, all of us, it would happen. We would know through CNN. I'm sure he said Capro's show, which is Cal Lazar's, but Capro's, or it might be the Hint of Riches because he said thank for, and that's the Hint of Riches. So there might be something on there. But he said, I don't want to use that word because, no, I don't care. Fat lady. I do care, but it's like, I'm beyond it now, this ball of, I don't know, feelings over just logic. Just crazy. People getting upset for just nothing. Just crazy. So the fat lady sings. That's it. So begin at where Warm Water's halt is nailed down. That's important. The shifting, drifting, adjusting, that gets you the where when it's nailed down. All the other stuff gets you the who. And then the fat lady sings. What does that mean? Why is there a stoof.com? Why is Woolly outside? What does Woolly represent? What does the wood represent? What does the lawnmower represent? What does the gasoline represent? What does the wigwam teepee represent? Oh, that's what I want to talk about. So, the hyena in Jack Stoof. On the outside. Possibly retrieving something. So where the monarch butterfly is, if you look in the back, there's a hyena. And it looks like Forrest Fenn's face. And it looks like somebody coming. So in that top left, potentially there's Jack the Retriever coming, Forrest, and possibly Forrest again, but a different Forrest. I haven't heard anybody talk about it. Maybe you have, I don't know. But in that top left-hand corner could be, the bit before CNN. And, I'll talk about Dances with Wolves. Why did he go? Because he knew you were coming. So, is that the case? Why did Forrest go? Because he knew someone was coming? Why was there a retriever? That's if that is a hyena. Well, it doesn't have to be a hyena. It could be jackal. Could be a hound. Could be a fox. It doesn't look like any of those, but if you look at the synonyms, those things. So, what is a hyena? Why is it outside and not inside? What is Stoof.com about? Is it about all the possibilities that were not it. Inside the red herrings, based on the red herring top by the door. So based on the fact that they're all red herrings, these are the answers that Forrest knows, whatever. But outside there is a narrative that is coming through. That the things you're supposed to be finding have been found. And the answers that are correct are correct. So if you focus on the inside, you're basically starting to begin where warm waters halt. The only thing that may be of any interest are the songs and the films. But how do they impact the chase? I don't think they impact the chase in the sense that you have to solve it to solve the thrill of the chase. But part of it could be, what if it carried going forward? What if the thrill of the chase uses Steve.com? Let me see. It's half a meter. Oh, done that. I think we all will be in for a big surprise in the chase. I'm surprised there's only 13 people and 4 people have spoke. I'm not bothered about the 13 people, but nobody talking. That's weird. Especially those that did not believe Lulu Bell. Oh, I thought Davey said that, but Lulu said it. I think we will all be in for a big surprise. I'm trying to read it one way, but obviously you're not in for a big surprise, Lulu, by saying that. I think we will all be in for a big surprise in the chase. I think we underestimated Forrest. Absolutely underestimated him. The ability to come up with the ideas. That's crazy. The ability to come up with a poem. That's crazy. The ability to make that poem the way that it is. That's crazy. The ability to have those 11 or 14 things that come together. That's crazy. The ability to write 3 books, well, 6 books if we have these other 3, and the project to affect the future by doing all of that from 1972, 76, can't remember. No. When was it, Davey? 1974? Getting all these things mixed up. So the birth of something, or even someone, maybe. The birth of someone, from that, we get what we've got now. 1974 was it? Do you know what I'm talking? Steve, how you doing? It's my pleasure. This is all about Forrest, to be fair. So, do you know what I'm talking about, Davey? 1974, I think it was. Ish. Yeah, I'm sure it was that date. So somebody, the birth of someone at that time, try not to give anything away, but so at that time, the birth of somebody, that's what this is about. Now, the reason I said 1972, because Forrest said the secret of that place came back to me. But I think I'm thinking 1972 because of that statement. But I think the birth is 1975 now. I'm thinking, God, I can't believe I can't remember that. I know what I mean anyway. So this person's born, this thing has the opportunity to be real from that point in time. And without that point in time, then this doesn't happen. But for Forrest to do all of that, think of that, because that's an impossibility based on the information we have now. Knowing that date, it's impossible to know that date knowing everything that we have now. That date shouldn't exist. And that's weird. Like everything else. So, Major Forrest Burke Fenn. It doesn't matter who Forrest is, in the sense that, for us to appreciate the person that we saw doing this, the person that we saw who took, as far as we're concerned, 14 years out of their life. So, it explains the fact, please listen, you can hide it in the same place. No one's going to find it there. Nobody will ever find it there. The chest was found. The chest was found. That's why you get that audio, because the chest was found. So you can hide it in the same place. What do you mean you can hide it in the same place? The chest is found. I've said this before. Nobody hears it, but so if the chest is found, what are you talking about hiding something for? It's like, come on, it's like flipping heck. So yeah, hide it in the same place. Absolutely. I can't remember whose law it is. Sometimes the simplest answer is the answer. And that's how it works. So, aware that David Paisano normally goes live. I'm not sure what time because I'm normally asleep. But I don't know what GE means. Google Earth. The aware that David goes live, so I'm normally asleep. So I can see it's only 5 to 1 in the morning here. And if it's sort of like 7 or 8 o'clock-ish or whatever time that you go live there, I don't know. But I'm going to go. So the bit at the front that you read could be, don't think that it's our Ben. I'm not talking about Ben. Sorry, Ben, if you're here. So Ben, sorry to burst your bubble, but the Ben at the front, that's not you. Could be the Rocky Mountains. A synonym for Ben. So please don't think I'm talking about Ben and that Ben knows anything. Well, he might know something, but that's not what I'm saying. So it's not Treasure Warriors Ben that is on the front, of the video. So, just if you look up the words, you'll see that words don't mean what you think they do. And if you just read it as Ben and not the Rocky Mountains, then you're in for a shock. The fat lady has to sing. She never did. So that means anybody with the soul that they gave to Forrest that doesn't understand that, no. But more than that, the chase didn't finish. Because she's definitely going to sing. There's a reason why everything that Forrest said has been put in place and been mentioned. So when he affects the future, all of these things that affect the future will follow one for the other. And proven that Forrest said it for this, for this, for this, for this, for this, for this. So when the fat lady sings, you'll know Forrest was right. And you'll know that it's the end. Most importantly. And then you'll, or should expect to see it on CNN. Or the fat lady is singing on CNN. And that explains it. But however it comes about, I hope you have a great Labour Day. I hope when you wake up you remember Major Forrest Fenn, everything that he did, and I hope that you will have a positive mental attitude towards Major Forrest Fenn, and not the fraud or who pulled it or who moved it or all the other ball that you talk about, because that's not what it was. And you can say some nice things, because he wanted to say nice things while he was alive, not when he was passed. And that's how it goes. Is Poirot still on the case? No, there was never any case. Let's see this. See what I just did there? That's me resting my case. I did not know he was missing. Good to hear you're alive. Who's missing? It's good to read you, Bill. I enjoyed your video. Very good. I was talking about it at the beginning. There was no disrespect meant to you, just that I didn't think that, it was your voice, that it was about you, that the title was about you, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, we talk about it all the time, Bill. Seriously, not bad stuff. Hey, Steve. Yes, all is good. How is things going for you? Okay, bro. Living the dream. Love that statement. Living the dream. And that's how it should be in America, because that's what it was based on. The American dream. And if you can do that, it's a good place to be. We haven't got a United Kingdom dream. And as things are going, it's getting more and more of a nightmare than a dream. I don't know, just so many people getting into politics and lying their way to a point of authority. So they get there with bull and lies and then just screw everyone over, and it's just crazy. And that's all around the world. Or they just, a dictator and they just take over. One or the other. You either get taken over and have to do what you're told, or you vote them in and you have to do what you're told. And it's just about China ruling the world, taking over every country without firing a shot, by putting politicians in place, dirty politicians. Probably went to the same school as trusted with the hokey pokey teacher and taught, they're just taking over the world by buying up land and making politicians make you think that being a communist is the right thing to do. Shut up. And then coming up with this DIE, and I mean that, DIE, because doing that, people are going to die. That DEI, people are going to die. You can't put people in positions that they can't do, because that just means, firstly, your standards are going to drop. And, people can read that how they want, but it's the truth. You can get upset. I don't care. I'm telling you the truth for the benefit of people, not for the detriment. The standards drop because the people doing the job, they're not qualified to do the job. They're in the job because they're female. They're in the job because they're black. They're in the job because they're transgendered. They're in the job because blah, 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 blah. At some point, it will get to the point where we need somebody working in here. This is our policy. We need somebody who wants to be a cat to work in our company. Because at some point, those people who want to be cats will be heard. It's not fair. You pick on us people who want to be cats. You have to give us a job. And they'll go, oh, sorry, so sorry we upset you. Yes, we'll get you a job. Because you want to be a cat? You can have a job because you want to be a cat, not because you can do the job. You can have a job because you pretend you want to be a woman and you're confused. No. Can you do the job? Here's the test. Do the test. If you can do it, you get the job. If you can't, see you. I don't care if you're upset. I don't care if you're upset. in the whole world, whatever it is that I'm doing, I care about upsetting people. Absolutely care about upsetting people. But when it doesn't make sense for me to make a decision based on who you are, no, sorry, no, no. And you should be better than that. You shouldn't expect me to make the decision based on who you are, because you're making me a sexist, a racist, an ageist, and whatever other is there is, based purely on who you are, not what you can achieve, on who you are. It's disgusting. It disgusts me that we're at that point, reversing where we were 40, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, how people died by making it, Martin Luther King, people making statements to try and better the whole world. They die for those statements, and now we disrespect those people by reversing everything that we've done in the past. Because we started a politically correct movement that means, you called me so-and-so. What? Oh, you didn't say my name correctly. What? Oh, you called me a he, not a she. What? Come on. Just live a little. Just be human. The whole world is crazy. Absolutely crazy. And I think, the chase highlights the fact that people are crazy. People are crazy. Absolutely crazy. Just get along with everyone. What the heck? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. We live in a society now where we don't really care. Most of us don't care how people want to live. They just want to be able to live themselves. That's it. They don't care what you want. If you want to be a cat, go ahead, be a cat. Nobody cares. Tell people you want to be called a she. Tell people you want to be a cat, and they will do. Yep, you're a cat. Well done. You're a she. Yeah, well done. Stop all this. Anyway, cabbages are coming along, and radishes are to be planted next. Ooh, sounds good. Citizens first. American citizens first, yes, and English citizens first. Absolutely. They want these people to come into the country and vote for them so as we can have communism throughout the world. Shut up. No. Stop making people kill each other and fight each other. No, stop it. It's crazy. Stop believing the media with all the bull they're putting out. It ain't real. It isn't true. Stop it. Think for yourself and try to imagine that the country that you had, it still exists. It still exists. Do not let it slide any further. I'm talking about my country, your country, anybody's country. Stop it. Say no to the politicians who are feeding you a whole load of bull. Say no to the big media who are feeding you a whole load of bull. Say no. You're not interested in the bull. You know how your daily life is. You know that what's happening is not the way it should be. So say no. Just no. No. I don't want this anymore. Stop closing your eyes, putting your head in the sand and saying, yeah, well, I don't like that person, so I'm not going to vote for that person. That person's trying to save the world, pretty much. I'm not political in any way, shape, or form. But I know that if somebody wants to put more money in your pocket, if somebody wants to help you with your medical stuff, if somebody wants to help you with your jobs, if somebody wants to help you, blah, 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 if somebody wants to do all that, not because I believe that, I don't just believe the fact that somebody's telling me that, I believe the fact that 4 years that they were doing it, that's what happened. That's what I believe. I don't believe any of the other stuff. I believe the 4 years that I can relate to with my own eyes and my own thoughts. The factual information that exists in the whole world that factual information that exists. So I base my thoughts on that. And I look around and I see what our country's become. This Great Britain, not so great. You know what? And I'm not being racist when I say this. You know why it's not so great? Because we let a load of foreigners in who don't have the same as yourselves in America. When you have citizens who come in legally, guess what? Constitution, Declaration of Independence, laws, they have to study all of it. And they have a feeling of belonging to this great nation. So obviously if it's Great Britain, the great nation. If it's America, the great nation. They have to go through all that and they get an understanding of this great country that they want to live in. They don't go and burn the flag. What the heck is that? Same over here, they burn the flag. If I would be in jail. I would be in jail if I was seeing someone burn the flag. I would be in jail. I think it's disgusting. I think it's despicable. I think it's, apart from, well, even spitting at somebody, it's the worst thing you can do in front of somebody who lives in that country, who loves that country. Burning their flag, worst thing you can do. Absolutely worst thing you can do. Shouldn't be tolerated, should be illegal. They shouldn't even be on the streets. If you hate my country enough that you want to burn my country's flag, get the fuck out of my country. Go and live in your own country and do those things over there. Don't do them over here. Do not come over here, take my money and burn the flag of my country. Don't do it. And I don't think people should stand up for it. Should stand for it, not stand up for it. Should stand for it. Those people should go back. Literally straight away. Literally straight away. Yanked, gone. No pun there for yanked, but that's how it goes. I think it's disgusting. The world's disgusting. These people are disgusting. There's no need for it. You know, I won't go so far as to say shoot them, but you know, I'm not far from it. No, you heard me say each person has 5 souls. Each person has 1 soul. There are 5 chests. How are you going to take your 1 soul to find 5 chests? Is what I said. Not 5 souls. You just don't hear. You have 1 soul. It's possible there's a continuation of the chase. If there's 5 chests for the 1 soul, hang on. How am I going to find these other 5 chests? So there has to be a method. Now, if your cipher can find 5 chests using that cipher the way you used it, which it won't, because I've looked at it, it won't find 5 chests in 5 different states, in 5 different places. There's a bit of a fall down there, isn't there? Again. Yeah, well, I've just said that, but you just said it as well, Davey. Mario is an AI simulation like the Doctor on the Star Trek. Yes, I am. Yes. But I'm that one that he can move. Like, he puts that thing on. And then I can go. I don't need to stay on the holodeck. I can go anywhere. It's good to see you anyway. Been busy. Haven't seen you all on Discord recently. I haven't been on there ever. OMG. He does remind me of the Holodoctor. He hasn't got a tash though, has he? Was talking to Trusted and Paul earlier. Say hi to Paul if you speak to him. Burning a flag is ignorant. Dishonouring the Declaration of Independence is treason. And there's a huge number of so-called representatives. Yes, 100%. It's like I don't know how they get in office in the first place, because you go through a rigorous process of doing that. And they should be voted in. And it's like, so you want 20 million immigrants to vote more disrespectful representatives, because that's what they are. When I hear people talk in Congress, and they say the things they do, and I think, are you kidding me? You're basically saying you want to burn the American flag. It's like, you shouldn't even be, what? And I don't know how that works, because you're supposed to be an American citizen, aren't you? Or I would have thought you're supposed to be an American citizen. And you end up in Congress, and I can't remember her name, but she comes from an African nation, I think, or somewhere out in another place. Togo, is it, or something? And Somalia. And she's thinking about them more than she's thinking about America. And she's saying, yeah, don't worry about it. My power, my connections in the Congress, blah, 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 will make sure you're all right. Are you kidding me? You have an allegiance to your old country above the allegiance to the country that you're in, and you're representing people in that country whereby it's run by the people. How are you saying you've got any power? You haven't got any power. What the hell are you lot doing? You representatives don't have the power. The people have the power. You're supposed to do what they say, not do what you want to do, and make them do what you want to do. Where's it all gone wrong? I don't get it. At least over here, I can say, well, we used to have a king, now we have a parliament, or a queen. And why am I paying for both? Because they're both useless. Both don't do anything for me. None of them do anything for me. They don't do anything for the country. Everything is just into their pocket. Everything is just for their agenda. Ludicrous. Hell yeah, been busy. Feel bad for Paul. His friend. He knew so. Oh, sugar. I'll have to send him a message. Oh, I didn't know that. He didn't say, damn. I don't know what that's for. Is that for me ranting? Sorry, mate. That's always good. More work, more cash. Hell yeah. So, I'm going to go because Dave Paisano is going to go live, and he'll might kick off that I've nicked his spot. Remember, it's not Ben that you think the Ben. So if you see Ben on the front title page, it's not to do with Ben. Could be the Rocky Mountains, could be anything, because words don't mean what you think they do. But it is not Ben, so don't think that he's talking about Ben. But it is important. Yes, good night, Troy. Hope everything's good for you in your world, family-wise. Hope you're getting answers and stuff. What happened with Ben? What do you mean what happened with Ben? No, I wrote something on the front and it says Ben, but it's not the Ben that you know. It's just the word Ben that is not related to Ben Treasure Warriors. No, Ben is going to Santa Fe to see Charlotte at some point in the near future. So nothing, well, as far as I know, nothing's happened with Ben. He was in earlier, so I don't think anything's happened. But if you're still here, see you, Ben, see you, Ashley, see 21 people who are, hidden from me. Well, not 21, 16 or 15 or however many that I don't see. Say hi to David or the Fan Ghost. Remember, for me it's the 7th. For you it will be the 7th. Forest passed. As we're told, or so we're told, not as we're told. On the 7th of September, 4 years ago, maybe some legal issues surrounding that. But remember Forrest. Michael Jackson's song named, yes, the two of us need look no more. We've both found what we've been looking for. He. Bang. The two of us need look no more. Thanks, y'all. We both found what we were looking for. He's still here. Yes, no offence meant, Ben. That writing on the front, it's there's information there, but it's not about you. It's like, you're so vain. No, it's not about you, but it is the word Ben. May I remember? I do remember lyrics. That's National Grandma Moses Day. The NGMD. That sounds good. So I do appreciate, people coming in. I don't mind whether you don't agree with me. That doesn't bother me. And I like to hear both sides of every argument so I can make an informed decision. Most of my decisions these days are based on, you're crazy. I'm not going to believe that. That's crazy, that is. And I have no disrespect for anyone. Everybody can be who they want to be, and anybody can achieve what they want to achieve if they put their mind to it. But this victim mentality, it's crazy. You're not going to get anywhere. Well, they obviously are going to get somewhere with the victim mentality thing, but it'll only last so long. And the world needs to wake up from the woke up people. Just crazy, crazy. So I appreciate your words and your time. I appreciate Major Forrest Fenn, not just for the thrill of the chase, but obviously, the information we have for any sort of Major Forrest Fenn. So, the Air Force, it's hard to say. If you're fighting for your country, it's hard to say you're doing the wrong thing. It really is. The trouble is, sometimes the people in charge of your country, they don't care about you. It's not about the country that you're fighting. It's because they want a bit of land. It's because, their thoughts are different than the other people. It's not about, making you a better person. It's not about making your country a better country. It's a selfish wish, that their thoughts, their desires are met. So I will never dishonour those that fight for their country, ever. Whatever the reason, it is what it is, and you fight for your country because you're told to fight for your country, or you're asked to fight for your country, or you believe that what you're doing is correct. And that's a hard position to be put in, but sometimes it's necessary. And as things progress, if World War III does come around, then relatives, people that we know, are going to be asked to fight for their country. And I would say it would be just, because the people that are threatening, they're not good people. They're just not good people, and their reasons aren't justifiable. So, nah, not good. Ciao for now. Take care, everyone. See you on the flip side, as they say. Take care. Ciao for now.